Welcome to the sickest home game around, All Out Poker's final table tournament. We have some brand new faces as well as some familiar ones we've seen on these final tables. Let's take a look at the stacks tonight. We have our big stack, Steven, a newcomer at this final table, who has 238K. Jeremy is in second place with 226K, not far behind Steven at all. But we cannot forget about our shortest stack at the table, Guy, at 3 big blinds. He is holding on for dear life. He needs Lady Luck on his side to win this tournament. But that is enough from me. Let's get into some action. It's not surprising that we are starting to see some folds. Usually gets folded around to the blinds every tournament. Which it does this one. John looks like he's going to make a bet with Queen 2 offsuit. Makes it 16 to go. Putting some pressure on the big blind. Peter's got King Jack here. A great defending hand, but he lets it go. John takes those blinds. Again, players are folding around to John. See if he's going to take a stab at it here on the button, which he doesn't. He limps in for 4K. Option is to Peter now, who has King 10 suited. Looks like big blind checks behind. Flop doesn't help anybody. John has the best hand here with ace high. Makes a half pot bet. Probably going to get through here, which it does. John takes down 2 pots in a row. Actions to our short stack Guy now. King 6 suited. He doesn't get it in. Action gets folded around to Steven, the big stack at the table, who limps in with pocket 7s. Levy, pocket 4s right behind him. He limps in. Both players are set mining here. Peter wakes up with ace king on the button. Makes it 12K to go. Imagine we're going to see a call from Steven here with the pocket 7s. Which he does. He makes the call. Levy also makes the call. 46K in this pot. There's the 7 on the flop. Steven hits his set. Not a great flop for Peter at all. Relatively wet board. A great bluffing board. But he continuation bets for 15K. Actions to Steven. Makes the call. Levy lets go the 4s. There's the 3rd heart coming down. Now giving Peter top pair. Looks like he's doing a bit of pot control. Checks it behind.
That's 20.
Steven fires out a value bet of 20K. And Peter shoves all in with ace king. The pair of aces is not going to be good.
32 total.
Steven makes the call. Peter is going to be our first elimination at this final table. His ace is no good with Steven's set on the flop. Peter eliminated 10th place. That ace on the turn was a nail in the coffin. Moving into the next hand here, we got Jeremy, who has pocket jacks. Limps in for 4K. Directly under the gun. John makes the call with ace-7. As does Paul in the small blind.
All in.
Guy shoves all in with 7-2. In the big blind.
So it's 220.
Not good timing at all. Jeremy shoves all in.
A little bit. Better have a monster.
Worst in poker history.
We got 7-2 versus Jeremy's pocket jacks. Guy is in absolute terrible shape. Is he going to hit on the flop? Give Jeremy a little bit of a sweat. Gonna need runner. Guy, 7-2 does not hold up. The short stack gets eliminated in 9th place. You did all you could.
They're up to.
I blew his fucking mind. Holy God, like he was genuine.
Action is to Kenny here.
How'd you do that? How long did it take you
Queen
to
9
do
offsuit.
that?
He lets it go.
What? I was like, I learned it in the break room at work.
Some people are pretty creative.
Getting folded around to DC here with Jack 8 suited.
No coordination.
He makes the call. Blinds have now gone up 3,000, 6,000 with a 6,000 big blind
That
ante.
was the easiest trick
Looks like it's the
ever.
first hand of this blind.
Check.
Both players check on the flop. Jeremy's ahead here with the pair of 5s.
Jack high. 5.
DC ends up hitting an open-ended on the turn, but does not get there on the river. Jeremy took down that last spot. Actions to Jean now. King, queen offsuit.
Kenny. That's probably because the way I dealt the numbers.
Can't see it?
Yeah, that's fine. That's 12.
Mystery Kenny. Those are fine too.
Jean ends up making it 12K. Levy wakes up with pocket aces.
Just like I did.
Shoves his remaining 26K into the pot.
What would you do?
It's like it's gonna get folded around to Kenny,
All in for 120.
who shoves all in.
Big blind, so what would be 128,000 all in?
We do not know what he has for a hand. Looks like the graphics are having a bit of an error. A little bit of a mystery hand here until the hands get flipped up.
All I need is a straight.
Levy's gonna have the best hand here. Oh, it's ace king suited. Runs into Levy's pocket aces.
Pretty cheap, if you ask me.
Luckily, it's not a crippling amount out of his stack. Pocket aces hold up. Levy gets a well-needed double up.
Thanks, Ken. Now we can play a little bit.
I put in 26 already in my blind.
No, the 6 was your ending.
Oh, 6 was right.
And then his 12.
Okay, yeah, I'll-
Kenny, he's always
Either way, it just becomes a
Well,
problem
that's
later on, so.
easier best friend.
I don't know why it's saying we're over in the tournament.
Put something wrong.
Action is to Steven now.
You're having a card reader error again. You want to put it over this end?
Oh.
again? Just, there we go. Yep. Yep.
Got Jack 10 offsuit under the gun. We're now 8-handed on this final table.
Yep.
Levy gets pocket 9s. Limps in for 6K. DC calls behind with King Jack suited. Looks like it gets folded around to the blinds. Kenny with 7-6 suited.
Raise is 16,000.
Looks like he makes it 16K to go. Jean lets it go. Levy and DC both make the call. We're going to a flop. Looks like Levy's pocket 9s are still ahead.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Kenny hits a gut shot straight.
6,000 all in.
Kenny shoves all in, putting Levy in a very awkward spot. Both players, I can't see how either player can make a call here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Back on track.
Kenny ends up picking up that pot,
Perfect.
making up for his chips from the previous hand.
You gotta leave it on the spot, Kenny.
Get them used to.
Takes a while.
Yeah, it's okay. First time here, it's all good.
Action is to Paul now. Now Jeremy with ace-3 suited.
That's 26,000.
Makes it 26 to go. He's going after those blinds and antes. Jean wakes up with ace-queen suited. In the small blind. Shoves all in.
All in, so that is 105,000.
105K. And Steven in the big blind wakes up with pocket jacks. He's now sitting in a situation with a raise and a shove.
Heather, how are you?
Probably questioning if his jacks are good here. Looks like he's sizing out the stacks. Jeremy was second biggest stack at the table, and it's right behind him. It would be tough for Steven to risk it all here. Very awkward situation. Stevens would be either flipping or
Hi, Levy, I'm Paul.
is absolutely crushed.
We might have.
You might be one of them, I know about these four.
Stevens really putting some thought into this.
You raised 26?
Yeah.
This is gonna look lovely.
And he lets it go. Steven folds the pocket jacks.
How much more is it?
182
Yeah, it's 182 roll.
More, right?
total.
Total. Yeah.
For that price, you can fold.
Jean is trying to get Jeremy to put some money in. A little bit of speech play.
Go ahead, you know.
I know.
Trying to convince him to make the call.
That's awful.
He lets it go. Steven wants to know what Jeremy had.
Oh, I'm not sure he was calling that.
Steven, still the biggest stack at the table though. Sometimes you gotta make some tough decisions.
That's the first time I'll do your small blind.
I had the best.
Pick your spots well.
Other black one. Yeah.
John, ace jack offsuit, limps in for 6K. As does DC here with pocket threes. Jeremy limps in with king 9 offsuit. Folded around to Jean, the button. Steven calls in the small blind. Levy checks behind. We got ourselves a 5-way pot here. 36K in the pot. Not really a great flop for anybody.
Yep.
All the players are pretty much even for percentages here. The king ends up giving Jeremy top pair. Looks like action is to Levy here, who has hit a backdoor flush draw with his 7-6.
That's 20.
Jeremy fires out 20K. Action is to Steven. It's gonna cost Levy some more money to put in here. He only has 45K. Does he risk it? He does not. He lets it go. John's got a gut shot with this ace jack with an overcard. Now action is to DC with his threes. He lets it go. Jeremy takes down that pot with the pair of kings. Jeremy limps in with king 3 suited here. Kenny calls. Seeing quite a bit of limping on this final table. A lot of players just getting to see a flop very cheap. Looks like Kenny has got the best hand here with a pair of sixes. It's actually not a terrible board for him unless he thinks someone else has a queen. But looks like he's going to take a stab at it. Fires out 20K. 2/3 of the pot. And everybody folds. Kenny takes it down with his pair of sixes. Actions to Paul here, under the gun. King 10 offsuit. Fires out 16K. Levy, ace jack, offsuit. Shoves all in. And John wakes up with pocket queens right behind him. $70K in the pot already. That's more than what John has in his stack.
Yeah.
And he shoves all in. Rightfully so.
Probably correct. No, 60 would be 71. Right?
Oh, that's
Yeah, it doesn't have any blind, so.
It's like Paul is trying to count out the chips. Wants to see if it's worth it for him to call. And he lets it go.
How much? 39.
Got ourselves an all-in situation here. Queens versus ace jack. That sound means the blinds are going up next hand.
or just don't.
There's Gee's 7-2-7. Where was that when he needed it? There's Levy's jack on the river. He does not get there. Not good enough to beat John's queens. Levy gets eliminated in 8th place. They're now 7-handed on the final table.
Put the cards over top of another sensor and it's not, yeah, or somewhere else. Big pain.
It's on me.
Yep.
It's looking like forgot to put the blinds up. There's still 3 and 6,000. Give them a little bit of a discount. Give some more play for these short stacks. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Paul ends up flopping an open-ended. John hits bottom pair. Paul fired out 15K and John made the call. Jack doesn't help either player. Paul's pair of 4s is still ahead. There's the straight for Paul.
No, there's no cards. Oh, it does.
Fires out a value bet, 25K, just under half the pot. Takes down that nice 79K pot.
Because the tablet takes care of everything, so, yeah.
Action's getting folded around here to the button. DC, who lets it go. It's just to the blinds now. And a walk. We got our first walk of the night. Looks like Steven's going for some betting chips. No, he only makes the call. Jeremy with Jack 10 suited. He calls. Kenny Queen 9 suited. All three players have relatively interesting hands here. Not an interesting flop, though. Steven fires out 16K. Action getting folded around to Jeremy on the button. He's going to go for a steal here with Queen 9 offsuit. Makes it 20K. Jean with 9-5 offsuit. Looking like he's going to go with the defend. He's not going to let Jeremy take his blinds very easy. Neither player hits really anything. Jean is in terrible shape here, only running to 2 5s that are left in the deck. You can see that one of the 5s is grayed out. Jeremy's got the check mark here with Queen High. Jean looks like he's going to try to take a stab at this pot.
That is 27.
Fires out 27K. Jeremy's only sitting here with Queen High. Looks like he doesn't look like a believer at all. Got the chips in hand. He hands the chips to Jean. Makes the call, but Jeremy has the best hand. Jean hands back the chips to Jeremy. What an incredible call from Jeremy with Queen High. Wow. These players have come to play tonight. They are on their game. It's looking like Jeremy is going to be the one to beat. He's not far behind Steven now for the chip lead. Sitting at 304K. Moving into the next hand. John here with 6-4 suited. Little one gapper. Getting folded around to the blinds. Jean makes the call here with queen 5. Steven, pocket 5s in the big blind. He checks. Steven with still the best hand.
16. That's 16.
John's going to take a nice little stab at it with a pair of 4s. Looks like John's 16 bet is going to get through. Makes Steven fold the 5s.
That card is very well.
You're chucking them as chuck better cards.
Yeah, maybe.
I find.
Yeah. You're probably right.
You know, throw
Jeremy,
20,
king, queen suited.
Maybe
Looks like he
possible.
makes it 20K to go.
Just a nice hot run, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for.
3 orbit heater should do the trick.
I like my cards, they were just.
Oh, okay. That's enough.
I think Jeremy's just going to take down the blinds and antes.
No.
Which is still quite a bit.
Vikings.
At 20K in blinds and antes. Kenny looking like he wants to get involved in a hand. King 8 suited.
That's 20.
Fires out 20K. He ends up winning the position. Action's just to the blinds now. John makes the call here with queen 8.
Oh.
Well, depends. Depends how good this looks. Check.
Ooh, there's John's queen. It's like Kenny's gonna make a continuation bet.
That is 20.
Try to rep that ace. And he makes John fold. Kenny ends up taking down that pot, making John fold the best hand. Actions to Jeremy now with ace 9 suited. Looks like he limps in for 8K. Under the gun.
All in for 47 now?
DC decides that it's time to shove.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, 51 with my small one.
Yeah, so small. Line.
51,000 all in.
Yep.
It's the first hand I think we've seen DC shove here on this final table. Looks like Jeremy lays down ace 9. DC picks up a nice little pot. Jean here with ace 10 off suit. He's got around 10 big blinds. Shoves all in. Steven, the pocket jacks yet again. He shoves all in. He's not going to make the same mistake twice. Steven's jacks are ahead.
Not twice.
Jean's going to need an ace on the flop.
I got it. You got it. I got it.
Flop does not help Jean very much. He's going to need the ace. Nope, he does not get there. Steven ends up eliminating Jean
King 5?
in 7th place. And now that we are 6-handed, we are cutting that ante in half.
And John, thanks for coming.
It's going to give these players some more play.
It was because I was still trying to figure everything out. It was all just, hey, how is this working? You know, is this...
Blinds are now 4K, 8K with a 4K big blind ante.
I think I've gotten the gist of it now, so...
Action ends up getting folded around to Paul.
No, it took some time.
Yeah, I can't fold pocket jacks twice in final table. That wouldn't feel right.
It's like Kenny and Jeremy are going to see a flop. Blind versus blind.
Folded the first time if he wasn't in the hand.
Flop doesn't help either player.
Raise,
Jeremy with the best hand here with king.
At any table.
But Kenny ends up hitting his 8 on the turn.
Bet an 8.
I've said
Jeremy fires out 8K.
Aces and jacks.
Trying to take a stab at that pot.
You said 16?
Kenny min raises. And Jeremy lets it go. See that Steven, still the big stack, 408K. DC is our smallest stack here with 9 big blinds. Paul's not far behind. Actions to DC now. All in here with pocket 6s. Action gets folded around to the big stack. Was king queen offsuit.
65 to you.
75,000.
Steven lets it go.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so we're done?
DC ends up taking down that pot.
Actually, I like that 10,000. Have this 10,000.
So the blinds are up to 5,000, 10,000 with a 5,000 big blind ante. That's going to be tough on the small stacks. Action gets folded around to Kenny on the button. Queen 8 suited.
Makes it 25.
Looks like he's going to take a stab at those blinds and antes. Makes it 25 to go. Looks like Kenny's bet works. He ends up winning those blinds and antes. I'm sure he's not complaining about that.
There was like a TV screen on the table, and it was clearly rigged for a rig.
Oh, yeah.
Most blatant thing I've ever seen. Me and my buddies went to try. There was just 4 of us, and 12 of the 13 hearts were out.
Oh, my God.
It just seemed like every hand was that as well. We always had straight draws.
Action's getting folded around
There was ever small hands.
to our small blind and big blind here. John limps in with king jack offsuit. DC checks behind.
Like already predetermined.
He's crushed here.
Like,
John ends up hitting his king. Imagine DC's gonna let it go. Jeremy's gonna try to take a stab at it. Makes it 24 to go. With this nice suited one gapper here, 6-4. Makes John fold the button. DC shoves all in again.
actually 80,000 all in.
Really putting the pressure to Jeremy. Certainly a pain in Jeremy's side. Jeremy was just trying to steal it.
60, 70.
Does not like it. He's so disappointed with himself. Shaking his head. We'll see our Jeremy here, 24% for pre-flop raises. Kenny is the exact same percentage.
I think anyone's 12-year-old in yet.
DC shoves have been working. He's at
That's where a
20%.
lot of the dealers at the casino when the casino first opened came from. A lot of cruise ship employees.
Wait till AI really kicks in. And you got virtual people standing there actually dealing.
Oh, they already have that in Halifax, don't they? Blackjack dealer.
No, you don't.
We have a couple of,
Oh, really?
play the blackjack game.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
I
just
don't
a
mean
virtual
that, I
person.
mean actual robots.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
AI.
AI that are AI, they'll be able to.
Looks like Jeremy's gonna get a walk.
By like a robot and
Pocket tens there.
Not,
I'm sure he wanted some action with that at least.
They did anyway.
I guess a casino showed up.
A win is a win though. You can't complain.
What?
To them, they probably weren't making enough.
Okay,
Both Jeremy and Kenny are going at it again. There's Jeremy's 10.
that's 15.
Fires out 15K. And Kenny folds. Jeremy takes down this one.
Okay, they wouldn't let us play.
wouldn't they?
No,
Why?
they decided they weren't letting any land-based
Yeah,
casino
no, thanks.
entrance play.
Oh,
And the small print was Carnival Cruises can do whatever they want.
wow.
In international waters deal with it.
How do they pay, how do they do that in international waters when you win money? Like, do they,
It's like
based
Paul
on the flag that is
gonna
on the
get
ship.
involved here.
You have to obey the laws that are on the flag, or on the flag of the ship.
It's like he's gonna fire at a 25K bet.
So if it's an American cruise, you're paying
American
American
money.
taxes.
Kenny, pocket nines.
Because when they dock,
He makes the call.
They're an American business when they dock, right?
Got ourselves a nice
Oh, no,
little
we're
pot
not-
brewing.
yeah, This is all our money.
yeah,
Yeah, like the government's gonna let that fly, especially the American government.
No, it's,
Or you just put a pirate flag
I'm
on
big
the
on
Yeah.
That's just every now and then.
Yeah.
From 11 till 3, the pirate flag is up.
It's like Steven makes the call as well.
Yeah, that's okay.
The lines are defending.
Okay.
No more getting pushed around. Looks like Paul hits a pair of sixes. Kenny's pocket nines are still the best hand. All he has to worry about is an ace, but he has two players behind. Looks like it's getting checked around. Going to a turn. Jack doesn't really improve anybody's hand. Kenny's going to take a stab. Ends up firing out 20K.
I'm all in.
Paul shoves all in.
27 more.
Not sure why Paul just didn't do that on the flop. Not sure if he's going to be able to get Kenny to fold now.
Grab me a Pepsi.
Yeah. Way over there.
27 more to me? Yep.
Kenny calls.
Oh,
Paul is going to need some help running to a king or a six to win this pot. And he does not get it. Paul ends up getting eliminated in sixth place. Now down to five-handed play at this final table.
Hey, Bubble?
We are now in the money bubble.
Kenny's on.
10-5.
Oh.
I'm so excited.
25.
DC is getting involved now. Makes it 25 to go. This newfound chips.
Check.
It's going check, check on this flop. There's John's ace. Getting checked to the river.
25.
John going for a value bet. DC just sitting here with king high.
Anybody is allowed in there.
Yep. Yeah, it's owned by Superstore, so.
Yeah.
Jeremy limps in. Jack 9 offsuit.
There you go.
Everyone has to have a dad's root beer.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the deal.
It's actually not bad.
John here with pocket sevens. Looks like
Looks
he makes it 30K in the small blind.
Yeah.
And DC shoves behind here with ace 5 suited.
Call.
Actually, it's not including this big, or, you know, it's not bad.
John calls.
Good luck, good much.
Best situation John can get into here.
Yeah, just hold it.
DC
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
is at risk. Gonna need some help. The flop is not good at all. He's gonna need an ace and an ace only, and he does not get there. DC is in the money bubble, getting eliminated in 5th place. We are now
I
four-handed.
imagine
The money bubble has burst.
these
Play is going to get exciting. Players are going to be fighting for those money jumps.
Who's that, Dave?
Dave's son, yeah.
I actually played hockey with DC for when I was a kid.
No raise.
That's 35.
Steven making it 35 to go here with Queen 9 suited. Really putting some extra pressure onto those blinds. Look at our chip counts here. John and Jeremy are relatively the same size stacks. Kenny is in 2nd place with 304.
Having an issue with that sensor.
There's one?
Steven's still the big stack.
Or can
I can, yeah. I'll do it next.
Okay,
Uh,
still not working?
yeah, I am actually gonna move over to C9.
Let me do it right now?
It's like we're having a card reader error. Gonna move over the
Sorry.
player to a different seat.
Shoot. Shoot, sorry.
I can move over, who can move this?
No, I just needed to move the big blind, that's all. Okay. Sorry.
It's like-
So actually-
Trying to catch up with the action here. Steven pocket 8s.
Nope,
Okay, John.
It's like he fires out 40K.
Yeah, sorry, actually.
it's on me, right?
Yep.
Action is to Kenny. 7-2. Not gonna get involved in that.
The person who was running the game gave him access on his phone. It was basically
Oh.
essentially live streaming it on his phone. So we had it on his phone and you could see it, everyone's card
Wow.
and in real time. So if anyone was ever wondering how we actually did it, that's
That's what it was.
so the truth of the matter is. I
Action
believe
looks
that
like it's to
this
Kenny
guy
here.
Who was running the game and running the system at fault.
Right.
Not
That's
so
still-
much.
Dealer constantly chatting.
We're betting, we're
Nobody
betting-
cares about Mike Postel anymore.
Just keep it that
Should've
way.
went up.
Get to the graphics here. We want to watch this poker match.
I'm just gonna give somebody.
Kenny's got Queen Jack suited. In the small blind.
Game shut down, I can't remember. Mike
Around
Pop-
here?
No, Mike Postel, it's the, sorry, what was the bet?
40.
40,000, okay. That's cool. Okay. Sorry, I'm not paying attention.
Kenny ends up taking down that little pot.
24?
12.
12, I think he just called.
I just called.
Oh, okay.
I should've.
Jeremy limping in here. Ace 4. Steven calls 6K more with 3-2 offsuit.
I don't know why I'm having a hard time with these colors. I don't know why.
Well, it's a new, it's probably a new,
There's Jeremy's ace.
probably targeting your first time.
Great flop for Jeremy.
New set of chips.
Yeah.
Steven hit a pair of 3s.
25.
John trying to take a stab at the pot. He knows he probably has no chance to win unless he bluffs at it.
Changing the colors a little bit.
It's not going to work though. Jeremy with top pair. A little bit of hope for John. Hitting a pair of 5s now.
50. Holy fuck.
Jeremy putting some pressure on John.
I was thinking my last hand.
Too much of that jazz.
See Steven,
Yeah.
still the big stack, 361K. Jeremy has now moved up to second place, 305K. Kenny's only behind by 1,000 chips.
Spots on one table. Like they're lucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See Kenny here has got ace queen
Oh, yeah, cheating online, yeah, that's
under the gun,
uncommon, yeah.
or cutoff, whatever you want to call it. We're only four-handed.
You know, 3 hands, I mean, 6.
Blinds are 6,000, 12,000 with the 6,000 big blind ante.
RIP to get us in the poker star system, can't catch
36.
36.
But Kenny makes it 36 to go. Jeremy, big defender of his big blind. Not going to go down easy. Great flop for both players' hands, really. I mean, ace high in a paired board situation. It's not a terrible hand. Kenny ends up making it 36. Jeremy just decides to let it go.
Yeah, it would absolutely get a lot of views.
Oh,
Steven, pocket kings, under the gun.
People that want to try to cheat and then people do this.
Curious to know what he's going to do here.
what is it?
12, yeah.
There.
Must be going for a bet. How much? Looks like he makes it 36. John with pocket fives right behind him. John ends up calling, and Jeremy quickly calls with Jack 10 suited. Kenny's in the big blind here with 8-2 offsuit. Looks like he's grabbing some chips. He decides to let it go. Going to a flop. Steven's kings are still ahead. Jeremy ends up hitting top pair.
That's 45.
Fires out a 45K bet. Stevens is going for a 3-bet.
120.
120,000. It's going to put Jeremy in pretty tough spot. I think John already folded his fives. Jeremy, let's go. What a great laydown from Jeremy. Avoiding that disastrous situation with a great fold. He's going to have to try to go after some of those blinds and antes again.
42.
Makes it 42 to go. Kenny with king queen suited. He calls. Steven folds. Heads up into this pot. Jeremy is crushed here. There's 2 diamonds for Kenny with 2 overcards. Both players check. Now Jeremy ends up hitting a gut shot. That 9 will be no good, though, giving Kenny a bigger straight. Jeremy's only running to 3 outs. Needs to hit an 8. It's like
It is 45.
Kenny fires out 45. Is Jeremy gonna want to gamble here? Decides to put it in. No help on the river. Kenny's got the check mark.
It's just
Kenny fires out 50K. Jeremy folds. Kenny taking down that really nice size pot. Take a look at the standings now. Kenny's still in second place, but he's not far behind Steven. Both John and Jeremy are in very rough shape. Actions to Kenny now on the button with King Jack offsuit.
36.
Makes it 36 to go. Steven pocket nines. In the small blind he calls. The two big stacks are going at it. Kenny ends up hitting a gut shot. Steven. His pocket nines are still good. Two overcards on the board with a club draw. Very wet board.
40.
Kenny gonna continue the pressure. Makes it 40K. And he folds. Kenny ends up taking down that pot. The power of position. See if Kenny wants to make it happen again here with ace-5 offsuit. The very next hand. Decides to let it go. Steven is going to put some pressure on the blinds. Makes it 45 to go. Both John and Jeremy let it go.
Go.
John tries to limp in here with ace-9. But Jeremy shoves all in right behind him.
How much?
77.
King-6 suited.
Fuck. That's like exactly what they want.
John contemplating a call here. Oh, and that sound,
The clock's on
I
you.
know, I know.
not a good sound to hear at all. That means the blinds will be going up next hand. 8,000, 16,000 with an 8,000 big blind ante. It's going to put the short stacks in an even worse position.
That's right, you know, I didn't have.
I can tell you what you have.
107.
Jeremy thinking about getting it in here.
Good luck.
All in. Ace 2.
That's good bet.
I figured it's big enough.
Anything smaller.
Jeremy takes down those blinds and antes again. It's just what he needs.
I'm just looking for the big blind. Yeah,
That was
I know.
there.
Kenny, pocket jacks now on the button. Fires out 48K. Gonna win that pot.
Still not, no, it's still, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
You made me worry there for a
I pulled
second.
the puck over here. It's like,
Still not bad.
yeah, I'm not gonna get fight back.
Kenny, king queen offsuit.
Yeah, you can't have the button every hand.
That's a good game. Button twice.
Yep.
And it, I'll be on
Yeah,
that.
actions to you.
My turn.
Says all in 86.
Kenny calls the 16. John shoves all in.
Small blind, but
King queen.
I'll fold. 86.
Kenny lets it go.
Almost called.
Well, it's 86 behind plus the small blind. So.
I thought I had to call it to be 86.
Steven with ace 10 suited. Taking a look at the blind clock. Decides to make it 39.
I appreciate it, though. It means, I don't know,
I did put a lot of thought into it.
well,
Yeah, it seems like
I don't want to have too many comments from other people.
actions to you.
John folds.
It's like John and Jeremy are fighting over that money jump. Neither of them want to get fourth place. It's a great opportunity for the big stacks to be pushing them around.
48 go.
Kenny putting some pressure on from the small blind.
As much I can do.
Steven shows the 7-2 offsuit.
You need change back. I would. Can just do it. Okay. We're good. Dealer's slowing down the game here.
107.
Jeremy
Seven all.
shoving all in here now with queen 8 suited. Looks like he's going to take those blinds.
Not because I have more chips, just because you guys are scared, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Tired.
Kenny now with
Yep.
You're so tired.
jack 10 suited.
Actions to you.
Okay,
Don't go too deep.
48.
Kenny making it 48 more.
That was a fold, right? Yeah.
48. Yeah. Okay.
Kenny's going to take those blinds. Steven with 7-2 again. John limps in with king queen offsuit. As does Jeremy. 3 ways to this flop.
And then there was a
There's John's king. Jeremy with a gut shot. No player has any hearts.
That is 30.
John's 30K might get through here. Take down this pot. Jeremy folds. And as does Kenny. John now puts him just above Jeremy in chips. Fighting over that fourth position.
Do you know them? Like, have history with them?
I have no, not at all.
If they don't, like, did something back in the day?
No. It's just funny because I had literally hadn't been in it like 10 years, and like just had that run in almost instantly. It's like unbelievable.
Kenny, in the small blind. Calls the 16. Steven goes to grab some
How
chips.
much are you raising just so I can just make up a number?
40,000.
Kenny folds.
Like at the casino? Yeah, I think I would be, I would like to kind of get it to that point, but the truth is, like, production-wise, I'm nowhere near that. I would like need quite a hefty investment to put
Yeah,
into that.
that's what they're planning, right?
Yeah. But I also don't wanna work for them doing it either, right? And it's like,
Yeah, no.
so it's kind of a
Like,
weird
you just,
spot.
you charge them however much you need,
Mhm.
and then some.
Yeah. Yeah, it could
It's like Kenny
potentially turn into.
calls with 4-3 suited on the button.
Those,
Yeah, if you final table.
Giving John a nice free flop.
I would definitely.
No pressure.
Proper income for
They
that.
should be interested if their management is so good, I don't know who's.
John's got a gut shot. 2 over. Steven hits a pair of
Have
sixes.
a little bit of a say or something into that, 'cause they're trying
Kenny,
to-
absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
So it's.
yeah, he's
Gonna try to take a stab at it.
he has the background and like, it's, you know.
Mhm.
It's like he fires out 35.
Oh,
Steven calls. Bottom pair.
but that's probably a couple of years down the road.
Checks over to Kenny. Kenny hit his pair of threes. Kenny's going to try to see a river. Steven's pair of sixes are good.
Increase.
6.
Steven takes down that nice little pot.
If they're
Yeah.
smart, they would. Yeah, but it brings in so many more players, like, not just poker.
It brings that interest in that thing of like, oh, I could be filmed, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually surprised that they don't do like photos when they're like, you know, taking pictures of people at the table. Like, they need to do more of that. Like, I know they're a casino and they have regulations, but
They're not very good.
Steven here on the button. Taking a look at those short stacks.
the regulations.
Looks like he's going to put some pressure. Looks like he makes it 35. Or 45, sorry. It's going to make Jeremy fold.
A little bit of
Yeah,
experience.
excellent. Yeah, excellent.
Call.
These small stacks are really holding on. John limps in 10-8 suited. Kenny wakes up with ace-queen here.
Is that much?
65,
Fold.
70, 73.
I have it.
So 73.
Well, John and Jeremy are just going to let this go. Kenny waking up with ace-queen in the big blind. Take a look at the stacks. Both John and Jeremy, 5 and 3 big blinds. The blinds just went up to 10 and 20,000 with a 10K big blind ante. They're in even worse shape now. But it looks like the blinds are going to be 8 and 16 for this hand.
Call.
Kenny ends up hitting a pair of queens, putting some pressure on Steven, and Steven folds his ace high. Jeremy's holding out. Hoping these big stacks are gonna get John all in here.
Come on.
What do you want me for? Go get him.
John all in here, pocket fours.
64,000.
And Steven folds.
That,
With the tablet and the
I
stacks.
like that. So
So,
$20.
That's pretty much what it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, $20. Nothing.
You get there's a percentage of nothing. There you go.
Actions to Steven now on the button.
I mean, you can almost consider.
Ace 10 off suit.
Go 65.
Makes it 65. Pretty much trying to put these players all in.
Yeah.
Jeremy decides now's the time. Queen 10.
Good luck, me.
Good luck.
Jeremy sees that he's crushed here.
Little queen would help.
Jeremy's going to need some help on this flop. Flop doesn't really help anybody. The 8 comes down, though. A 6 will chop this pot. He's going to need a queen or a 6, and he does not get it. Jeremy gets eliminated in 4th place. Jeremy takes home $210.
oh, yeah.
All the players decided to throw $20 to the bubble.
Like, yeah, no, that can't happen again.
John, now that he has 3rd place,
Crippled him.
wakes up with ace king and ends up shoving 105k to go.
104, it's not 104. Updated.
Kenny gonna make the call here with king 8. He does not.
Okay, so what do we got here? 1, 2, 3.
John ends up taking Kenny's big blind, and John's all in again. Pocket 10s. John is on a heater. Players are starting to wonder if John is just shoving with any 2 cards now that he's hit 3rd place. I know I surely would be thinking that. But John is building up a small stack with all of those blinds and antes.
Enough.
And then he gets a walk.
That's a bit shocking.
Now Steven, ace 4, off suit.
No. I just need your cards on this one. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Time for me to go to bed.
No, that's okay. It's getting late and I'm getting, well, I shouldn't say I'm getting tired. I'm getting not as focused as what I was at the start of the day.
Remember that 55?
Fold.
Steven fires out 55k. He's going to take those blinds. Actions to John now on the button. Let's go the 8-3. Kenny gives Steven a walk.
The cash game, I would do 2 videos. I'd get 2 videos out of one game because we would film for 4 hours. That was quite a bit.
Kenny folds 10-5 suited.
Why did I only have one game?
I'm not sure. But yeah, you're only 10 in.
I'm not sure why I was starting there.
Steven calls here with 5-3 off suit.
I'll check that. Since you just.
Some new form of anger, I'm sure.
No, that was my small blind. No, your small blind? My
I'm
small.
big.
You're
You're
dealer.
okay, I'm
Yeah,
not.
you're dealer.
Okay, yeah.
This flop doesn't help either player. John with the best hand with jack high. Maybe the turn will improve one of the players' hands, which it does not. Steven's going to use his chips to his advantage, and he's going to try to steal this pot. Which he does. Take a look at the stacks here. John has managed to build up a 7 big blind stack now with all those pots that he ended up winning. Kenny is at 400k. Steven, 625k. John, ace king.
Good luck.
Shoves all in. Kenny with queen 10 offsuit.
Make sure everything.
Is he going to get tired of John's shoving and make the call?
So that is one. Oh, it's because you're.
Looks like he's grabbing some chips.
So yeah, I was what, one.
And he makes the call.
Calls.
140.
Ace King versus Queen 10. An all-in situation. John's tournament life is at risk here.
Good luck to me.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Shit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay.
All right, we're going to a flop. There's the ace. That's going to give John a nice sigh of relief. But the jack comes down, giving a little bit of a sweat. A king will give him the straight, but he does not get it. John doubles up, and now Kenny is the shortest stack at the table, 245K. John second place in chips.
For a while.
It's now a battle between John and Kenny. They're going to need some help if they're going to try to catch up to Steven.
Was it 40? Or
40, yeah.
Yeah, 40.
So min raise?
Yep.
Kenny ends up raising to 40K here with 7-2 suited. And Steven calls. Oh, Kenny ends up hitting 3 2s on the flop.
Options to Kenny.
200.
Yeah, no, I was
205, I think it's good.
215. Looks of it.
I think that's true.
Kenny fires out a value bet, 20K. Steven throws his hand away. Kenny looks pretty proud of himself for that hand.
Thank you.
How much was the bet again?
20. The minimum.
Dealer trying to catch up with the graphics. Kenny's on the button, ace-5 suited. Great hand, three-handed. Makes it 50K.
Full.
Wins the blinds and antes. Steven's got a nice little fun hand, 9-8 suited.
I don't have a set schedule, so.
Calls the 20K.
Three-way flop. I check.
Check.
That's 30.
Steven makes it 30K to go.
Full.
Got a nice little open-ended.
a really good flop from my hand.
I need a runner.
Options to check.
John gets pocket queens on the button.
30.
Wait, you need to call.
Kenny pocket threes. He ends up calling. Options to Steven now with ace-6. Goes for a re-raise. Music to John's ears.
180.
How much?
180,000.
Makes it 180,000.
I'm all
Kenny.
180.
What's Kenny gonna do? Very awkward spot. Gotta think he's beat here.
60 more.
But it's
But he's also short stack.
40 total.
220.
Steven ends up making the call here, which I imagine he will.
180.
John will be at risk to lose the tournament, get third place.
So you're all in.
Kenny would get a nice little money jump. Kenny folds.
You're gonna fold for 60.
So how much more?
60, you wanna fold?
60 more.
I thought I had bet enough to put you all in. I didn't realize you had more.
So you're strictly attacking me.
What's it called?
I understand.
Here we go.
I need an ace.
Steven makes the call.
I had a pocket here, I was gonna call, but if you pushed me all in, then that wasn't gonna work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great spot for John here.
Good timing.
There's no ace yet. 10 comes down. Needs an ace and an ace only. He does not get it. John doubles up. John is now the biggest stack at the table. Unbelievable. He was shortest stack for the longest time. It's down to like 3 big blinds, and now he is chip leader at the table. His patience has paid off. Chip in a chair.
Check.
I think we're going to see a flop here with the blinds.
Check.
John hits a pair of 4s.
Oh,
That's
5,
Steven
30.
Yeah, it's gotta be 30.
Oh,
fires out 30K. John calls. Steven hits the queen on the river. He checks and John checks behind. He's gonna get the bad news. Steven hitting that queen on the river. Steven,
you're right.
9-7 suited. And try to steal these blinds. He just calls on the button. John calls behind. Kenny checks. 3 ways going to this flop. Steven flops the flush and the check mark for this hand.
My check.
Both Kenny and John are drawing dead.
Check.
Check.
Steven fires out a little 40K value bet. Just going to win the pot there.
Just scroll by that. First I hear. That's pretty,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
The blind's at 15K, 30K with a 15K big blind ante. Blinds are getting high.
25 total.
That's gonna be
30
total.
total.
Okay, well, actually,
It's looking like Kenny was trying to make a raise, but
okay. Whatever.
didn't realize the blinds had gone up.
Oh, I thought he was raising.
I did too.
I did too.
Yeah.
A little bit of a weird position.
Yeah.
Kenny ends up just calling.
We'll cut that out properly.
17 outs here for Steven. Kenny ends up firing 30K though and just gets him to fold.
Again.
Kenny, ace queen suited.
$75.
Kenny making it 75 to go. Steven with pocket nines.
I'm gonna go all in.
All in. Says 440.
Yeah, I go.
John folds.
That was pretty quick.
Kenny quickly calls.
More stack.
Got ourselves a nice little coin flip situation here. Nines versus ace queen suited.
It's a race.
Classic. We got ourselves a
Come on.
classic. race, folks.
This is for third place. There's no help to Kenny. Kenny is just drawing to an ace or a queen. Can he get it? He does not.
There were two.
Kenny gets eliminated in third place. Ends up taking home $380. We are now heads up.
So if we chop, what's the deal there? What do we have to do?
It's up to you guys. Like whether you guys want to like put
Players are
play,
discussing a chop here.
for 20 bucks, or
There
you
needs
wanna
to be a
all
winner.
in one hand for 20 bucks or something. I don't know.
What
I-
do you
it's
like
just-
to do? You,
It's completely up to you guys. Honestly.
you want to just chop? I really could go home.
Yeah,
I gotta
Steven
drive to Petty, so.
He's looking like he's getting tired. Just wants to chop the pot. They decided to do an Omaha hand.
Okay, so it goes all in and all in. All right.
Omaha hand for the title champion of this tournament.
This makes it fun.
It does.
Nice little home game special. You won't see this at any casino. Random Omaha hand.
Everybody,
Nice little interesting flop.
goes ahead.
John ends up hitting a pair of tens. A gut shot for Steven. And there it is. Steven ends up hitting his straight.
Nuts, don't I?
Yeah.
Yep.
Steven hits the straight, and it gives him the check mark. Steven ends up winning the tournament, taking the first place finish.
As well, for sure.
Both players end up splitting the pot,
Thanks again.
Yeah.
each player taking home $630.
Supports me, so I'm really.
And that is it. Everybody, thank you so much for all of your support. We have a ton of new and exciting things coming to this channel, so make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Dave Frazier, signing out. Good night.
That'd be 6.